Hello, everyone. This is the Board Game Lawyer. Today I'm going to play some Marvel Champions. And Marvel Champions is a product of Fantasy Flight Games. And speaking of Fantasy Flight Games, one of the game designers, Caleb, was featured on a few of the podcasts that I listened to recently. One was Marvel Champions Monthly, and the other was Critical Encounters. And I noticed that just in the past day or so that I saw an interview of him on one of my favorite YouTube subscriptions, The Portal. So why do I mention Caleb? Well, because he's the one who issued the most recent Marvel Champions Monthly Matchup Challenge. It's challenge number 8, and this one's called A Challenge from the Celestials. So this is how this one works. He's asked us to play with the Hood, and I'm going to play with the Hood today in standard form. So we have the Hood 1 and 2 out here on the table. And he's also asked us to play with the Infinity Gauntlet, and so we have this here at setup. And also to use 6 random modular sets and the Black Order, and we mix the Black Order into our encounter deck to start the game. So let's take a look at some of these cards from this challenge. We'll first take a look at the Hood. We see that he is a villain who has a scheme of 1, an attack of 1, and that he's a criminal. His card text reads, Foul Play, Special, discard the top card of the encounter deck. If that card does not belong to the Hood encounter set, deal it to yourself as a face-down encounter card. So that's his foul play ability. Let's take a look at his Infinity Gauntlet that he's wielding today. It's a attachment. It has a scheme of +1, an attack of +1, and it has a permanent setup. There's a star next to each scheme and attack, and it says Force Response. After the attached villain activates, resolve the special ability of each Infinity Stone in play. Otherwise, put the top card of the Infinity Stone deck into play. So he begins with the Infinity Gauntlet. Let's take a look at the Infinity Stone deck. And so we have the Power Stone, we have the Mind Stone, we have the Space Stone, the Time Stone, the Reality Stone, and the Soul Stone. So these are the 6 stones that we'll be using to make up our Infinity Stone deck. And of course, as these stones pop out onto the table, we'll read the text to see what kind of an effect they'll have on them. But for now, I'm going to set this over here. Let's take a look at our main scheme. So our main scheme, side 1A, reads that during setup, we choose 7 modular encounter sets and set them aside. You may choose randomly. Choose one of those sets at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck. Well, this challenge asks us to go ahead and put the Black Order in our encounter deck, so we won't be choosing one randomly. But what I did do is I went through my collection and I chose 6 modular sets randomly, and so these are the 6 that came up that we'll be playing with today. So we have the Crossfire's crew. So here's the Crossfire representing them. We have the Enchantress set. We have the Wrecking Crew modular set. So we have the Wrecker here. We have the Temporal set, which we have the T-Rex here representing them. Electro, who it represents the Power Drain modular set. And we have, again, the Space Pirates. So we will take these 6 representations of these different modular sets and we'll shuffle them together. This will be our randomizer. So whenever we have to add a modular set to our encounter set, we'll draw one of these, and that'll decide which one gets put into our counter deck when that effect is triggered in the game. So after side 1A is completed, then we'll take a look at side 1B, and it says, when revealed, each player must resolve the Hood's foul play ability in player order. So again, that foul play ability says that I discard the top card of my deck. This says Establish Dominance. It is a Hood card. So it says, if that card does not belong to the Hood encounter set, deal it to yourself as a face-down encounter card. Well, this just simply gets discarded because it does belong to the Hood encounter set. So at least we won't have one additional card to deal with during the Hood's first turn. So we'll continue with our setup now. I can't remember if it was Caleb or if it was Michael Boggs, who in a recent interview made mention that there's been some negative feedback about pre-constructed decks. Well, I'm here to tell you, I love the precons, and I play with them often. And I think that in a game like this, they certainly have their place and that their design is brilliant. So that's what I'm going to play with today. I'm going to play with the Black Widow's precon deck. So these are the 40 cards that came with her when I purchased her, and it's a fun deck to play with. So we're going to play with the Black Widow today with her precon deck. To get started, she starts on her alter ego form, and it's Natasha Romanoff. She has 3 recovery, and she has a text down here in her box that says mission prep, response after you play a preparation card, draw 1 card, limit once per phase. She begins with 9 hit points and a hand size of 6. So I think this is everything that we need in order to get set up today. As always, if you see anything that I messed up during this playthrough, whether it be a rule that I botched or a card that I misplayed, please let me know in the comments below. That's how I learn, and that's how people who watch these videos can learn, is through my mistakes, right? All right, so hopefully we won't make too many, but there's a lot going on in this game today, so I'm bound to miss something. So hand size of 6 is how we'll begin the game. So we'll draw our first card. It's the Winter Soldier. We'll draw the energy card. We'll draw a grappling hook. We have the Widow's Bite, a strength card, and the Stealth Strike. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is defeated by this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Well, we won't be using that probably. I like the Widow's Bite and the grappling hook. Winter Soldier, he has a reduced cost for each preparation card that I control. It's tough to get him this early, but if you can get him out, he's very helpful. And I think we'll see what we can do here. We did get... So we're not going to play with Stealth Strike. And we're probably going to try to get Widow's Bite and the grappling hook out. So let's do this. Let's discard our Stealth Strike and mulligan that card off to draw this one, Interrogation Room. And we'll use that Interrogation Room to put out a Widow's Bite, I think. Yep. So that'll be a resource. We'll put out the Widow's Bite. Again, keep in mind that we have a response after you play a preparation card, draw 1 card, limit once per phase. So I get to draw a card, so we draw Spycraft. So if I use the Spycraft to put out, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, let's see. So if I use the strength card to put out the grappling hook, when you reveal a treachery, discard grappling hook, cancel the effects of that treachery, and discard it. So we'll use that strength card to put out the grappling hook. Okay. So now we have 2 preparation cards on the table. Now we could spend that energy card to put out the Winter Soldier, which I think we'll do. So we'll put the Winter Soldier out. Now I got to remember too that this scheme came into play with 1 threat on it. Forgot to place that on there at the beginning of the game, so that's strike 1 against me, right? So there's 1 threat on that main scheme. When it hits 5, it's completed, and we move on to 2A. So we'll use that energy card to pay for the Winter Soldier. So Winter Soldier's on the table, and then we'll flip Natasha Romanoff to her Black Widow side. Winter Soldier will attack the Hood for 2, and the Black Widow will also attack the Hood for 2. All right. So we'll discard Spycraft, and we'll draw 5 fresh cards. At the end of the Black Widow's turn, we need to place 1 threat on the Winter Soldier for attacking the Hood. We'll draw our 5 cards. Surveillance Team, the Black Widow's Gauntlet, Nick Fury, Power of Justice, and Target Acquired. So those are our 5 cards going into our next turn. And the Hood is going to begin by placing 1 threat on Making Connections. He's going to attack the Black Widow. And we have the Infinity Gauntlet. So we draw our boost card, which is 1. So he's going to attack for 1, 2, and 3 on the Black Widow. So that knocks her down to 6. We do have that forced response after I activated the villain. After I activate the villain, then I get to, in this case, put the top card of the Infinity Stone deck into play. So this reads, discard cards from the top of the encounter deck. Until a minion is discarded, put that minion into play, engage with you, place this card in the Infinity Stone discard pile. So that's our first stone, the Space Stone. That'll end our activation phase. Now let's move on to our drawing our encounter card. Our encounter card today is an Assault. It is a Treachery card. So I do have the grappling hook. It says when you reveal a treachery, discard grappling hook, cancel the effects of that treachery, and discard it. I think we're going to cancel the effects of this card. We're going to lose our grappling hook, but it does trigger the Black Widow's response. It says after you trigger the ability of a preparation card you control, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. That'll knock him down to 9. And then that will end the Hood's turn. All right then. So we have our Black Widow's Gauntlet. That is so good to play with. I need that for preparation cards, but I also have some other good cards in here as well. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. Well, we do have a preparation card that helps deal with minions when they come into play. So I think what I'm going to do is it's very important that you burn the Hood down quickly, because these cards over here, this main scheme could just snowballs out of control if you let it get too far into the game. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring Nick Fury out onto the table. We're going to spend those 4 cards to put him out. Probably not a great idea, but he does do 4 damage to an enemy whenever he comes into play. So immediately we can do 1, 2, 3, 4 damage to take the Hood down to 5. He can do 2 more damage to the Hood, which will take him down to 3. The Winter Soldier is going to do 2 damage to the Hood, and Black Widow is going to do 2 damage to the Hood, which will knock the Hood all the way down to 0. We do have to add another consequential damage to Winter Soldier for doing so. I know typically this early in the game I like to use Nick Fury for his card drawing ability, but I know what this Hood can do, and you got to get rid of him quickly. So we took care already of stage 1 of the Hood. That's going to flip him to stage 2. He begins with 16. All right. And he says, when revealed, choose 1 set-aside modular encounter set at random and then shuffle it into the encounter deck. So here's where we come over to our... This represents our 6 different modular encounter sets that we have set off to the side here. I'm going to shuffle it up, and I'm going to randomly draw 1. So we're going to draw the Enchantress, and we're going to shuffle her cards into the encounter deck. So here's her 5 cards that make up her kit. Got some cat hair there. And we're going to grab our encounter deck. We'll shuffle them in. 3, 4, 5, and we'll give it a real good shuffle. And that will end my turn. Again, I love to build up the board state this early in the game with all of these different preparation cards. And I'm going to try to get as many out as I can. But again, when I see an opportunity to do damage to the Hood, I'm just going to take it. That's how I have to play him. All right, so here at the end of the Black Widow's turn, we're going to ready all of our cards. And we'll draw our 5 cards to replace. So we have the Quinn Carrier, We've got Quake. We draw Stealth Strike, Surveillance Team, and Counterintelligence. So those are our cards that we'll take into our next round. So Black Widow is complete. The Hood is going to add 1 threat to his sides or his main scheme, making connections. He's going to attack Black Widow. Nick Fury is going to jump out in front. We will draw our encounter card, which is 1, 2, 3. So we do 3 damage to Nick Fury. So Nick Fury is defeated. He goes to the discard pile. And now we after we activate, we have to discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a minion is discarded and put that minion into play engaged with you. So we draw our first card, the Black Order. Then we draw Supergiant. So we put whoever into play put that minion into play engaged with you. So it is not revealed, but it does have a quick strike, which I do believe goes off. So quick strike is going to attack, and she has a forced response. After Supergiant attacks and damages a character, that character is stunned. So I think instead of allowing that to happen, let's see here. So we are definitely going to try to block that, but we're also going to play our Widow's Bite. After a minion enters play, discard Widow's Bite, deal 2 damage to that minion and stun it. After minion enters play, Quick Strike. We'll just say the Quick Strike goes off first. After he enters play, deal 2 damage to that minion. And we're going to stun it. Deal 2 damage to that minion and stun it. And then we do 1 damage to an enemy. Let's see. We'll do that 1 damage to the Hood. So we'll knock him down to 15. And then we'll draw our encounter card. And our encounter card reads, Black Dwarfs attacks gain overkill. So we're starting to get some minions onto the table. And they can do some damage. So, our next turn is, we have Stealth Strike. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is defeated by this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. 4 damage. 4 damage with that one. And 2 damage with Quake. We have Winter Soldier, Surveillance Team, and Counterintelligence. I really like the Counterintelligence card as well. We aren't able to do anything with Black Widow this turn because she's exhausted. I think for sure, though, we're going to take Winter Soldier to the Hood to do that 3 damage there. We'll bring Quake out onto the table to do 2 more attack to the Hood. 1, 2, and that leaves us only 2 cards. Deal 4 damage to an enemy. If that enemy is defeated by this attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. I like the 4 damage. Snoop counters. Any amount of threat would be placed. 4 damage to an enemy. If that is defeated, remove 2 threat from a scheme. How about we do this? We're going to backtrack here for a second. We'll just go ahead and add that 2 health back on to him. Instead, Winter Soldier is going to do 2 damage to the Black Dwarf. And we'll hang on to Quake. And we'll spend these 3 Stealth Strike. Spend 3 resources for Stealth Strike to do 4 damage to the Black Dwarf. Yeah, let's get rid of Black Dwarf. And then that will remove 2 threat from the main scheme. Buy us a little bit more time, hopefully. Okay. And then we'll hang on to Quake. We'll take her into our next turn. We're going to ready the Winter Soldier. And we'll draw 4 cards. So we have the Spycraft, the Synth Suit, target acquired, and counterintelligence. So we put one threat onto the main scheme. The Hood is going to attack Black Widow. Is that right? Or Winter Soldier. Black Widow or Winter Soldier. Let's take it to Black Widow. So we'll draw a 1, 2, 3 for 3 damage onto the Black Widow. And then we activate our Infinity Gauntlet, so we draw a stone. This is the Time Stone. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck and place 1 threat on the main scheme for each different card type discarded this way. Place this card in the Infinity Stone discard pile deck. So we could threat out potentially with that Time Stone. And we're trying to prevent reeling through all of these main schemes because, like I said, they can get out of control quickly. Supergiant's going to attack, but she's stunned. So no attacking from the Supergiant. Let's draw our encounter card. It's the Burn Notice. Okay, so we can flip to our Alter Ego form, and we're going to exhaust Natasha to remove this card from the game. I almost don't mind that so much. Really, I don't. Because I can accomplish some things now with her in that form. And I can always flip back now. So it's Black Widow's turn. Winter Soldier. Let's do some damage with Winter Soldier. Let's go ahead and do the 2 damage to the Hood with the Winter Soldier. That knocks him down to 13. See you later, Winter Soldier. He's gone. If I play my counterintelligence card using my Spycraft and my target acquired, that will allow me to draw an additional card. So let's draw a card. We draw another counterintelligence card. We can only have one. When any amount of threat will be placed on the main scheme, discard counterintelligence and prevent 3 of that. All right, so then with our 2 resources, we're going to put out Quake. I hate to throw away the synth suit. That's a good one as well. But with Quake, she will, after a minion schemes, exhaust Quake, deal 2 damage to that minion. It's too bad that minion's on the table still. It really is. If I would have thought this out a little bit better, I would have probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we're going to thread anyway. We really are. So at this point, I think we just try to do the damage, do the best we can with damage. So we'll do 2 damage to the Hood. That'll do 1 consequential damage to Quake. And we're going to draw... yeah, we'll draw 6 cards. We'll draw the Interrogation Room. We'll draw Genius. We'll draw Stealth Strike, Black Widow's Gauntlet, the Dance of Death, and the Safe House. Okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I could almost get it. So, all right, so we're going to ready Quake, Counterintelligence, Natasha, and we'll turn it over to the Hood. So he's going to place 1 threat on that main scheme. He is going to draw cards to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 threat on making connections. So that one is going to threat out. And up pops Promised Prosperity. A2A. It reads, choose one set-aside modular encounter set at random, then shuffle it into the encounter deck and place one acceleration token on the main scheme. So here we go. We're going to, again, draw one random card. It's going to determine which modular set we add in. So here comes the Wrecking Crew. Oh, boy. Wrecking Crew. They know how to do it. So we have Thunderball, Bulldozer, Top Talent, Pile Driver, Magic Muscles, and Combined Effort, along with the Wrecker, who will get shuffled in to our encounter deck. Bear with me while I shuffle. That, and that. And we put one acceleration token on the main scheme, is what they're telling us to do. So flip this over. And this reads, when revealed, each player must resolve the Hood's foul play ability in player order. For each player who was not dealt at least one face-down encounter card this way, place 2 threat here. Well, it begins with 2 threat on it. And so his foul play ability now says discard the top 2 cards of the encounter deck. So we have 1 and 2. So it reads, deal the first card discarded this way does not belong to the Hood. Encounter set to yourself as a face-down encounter card. There it is. Field Recruitment gets discarded. Okay. Now, the Hood activated, so now we take a look at the Time Stone. The Time Stone reads, discard the top 4 cards of your deck and place 1 threat on the main scheme for each different card type discarded this way, and place this card in the Infinity Stone deck discard pile. So we have a resource, we have an upgrade, an event, and an ally. Couldn't have been any worse. So we add 4 threat to the scheme. And we're going to discard our counterintelligence card now to make sure that we only add 1. So here the counterintelligence says we can prevent 3 of that threat. So we're going to put 1 on there. All right. And the Time Stone is spent. And now Quake is going to do damage to Supergiant, because Supergiant is going to scheme for 2. And Quake says, after a minion schemes, exhaust Quake and deal 2 damage to that minion. Do I want to do that? Response, after minion schemes, exhaust Quake, deal 2 damage to that minion. Do I want to do that 2 damage to the Supergiant, or do I want to do that damage elsewhere is the question. Ooh. So I need 3 resources for that. And I need 3 resources for that. I need to do 4 damage to an enemy and 6 damage to an enemy. And it's just not probably going to happen. I think I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to exhaust Quake to deal this damage to the Supergiant just yet. Nope, not yet. Not yet. I do need... Wow. I don't have any... Ugh. I was looking for a preparation card, because at least on my hero side, if I have a preparation card on the table, which I can find one with the safe house. So we're going to save Quake for now. We're not going to exhaust Quake, because I think I want to keep that. I want to keep that damage to add to the Hood. So now we do our draw our encounter cards. Here's our additional 1. So we know what this one is. The villain schemes. The villain is going to scheme. So 2 plus 1 plus our encounter card which is a star. It says reveal this card. So the hood now has his pistol. This is complete. And now we turn over Crime State. And it reads, when revealed, choose one set-aside modular encounter set at random, shuffle it into the encounter deck, place one acceleration token on the main scheme. Each player must resolve the hood's foul play ability in player order. Okay, so let's do that first. Let's go grab one of our modular sets. We'll grab the Crossfire set. And here we are. There are 6 cards in the Crossfire set. We'll shuffle those in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The bad thing is that since the villain activated just now, we have to draw another stone from our Infinity Stone deck to add to our gauntlet. Yeah, making it tough. Making it hard. See what I mean by this main scheme snowballing, because now I have another acceleration token, and before I can even do that, I have to resolve the hood's foul play ability. So I draw 2 cards. So the Corruptor and Assault. So the first one that I drew was from Crossfire's crew, which is the Corruptor. When revealed, exhaust each ally you control. Place 1 threat on the main scheme for each ally exhausted this way. Discard the top 2 cards in the encounter deck. Deal the first. This one. Okay, so that's who's going to get dealt to me. Ouch. And now we flip this over. And this reads, Force Response. After resolving step 1 of the villain phase, each player must resolve the hood's foul play ability in player order. And it comes into play with 3 threat on it. Whew. All right. More encounter cards to draw. Let's do this one next. Thunderball, Villainous. When this villain activates, give it a boost card. Yep, we know how that one is. And then the Corruptor says, when revealed, exhaust each ally you control. Place 1 threat on the main scheme for each ally exhausted this way. Well, we knew that was going to happen, because we knew what we were going to draw. So Quake is exhausted. The Infinity Stone that we got was the Power Stone. You are stunned. If you are already stunned, take 3 damage. Place this card in the Infinity Stone deck discard pile. Ooh. All right. Getting down to the knit and grit. I really am discouraged by the Corruptor. He's corrupted my plans going into the next round. Don't like it at all. So. Widow's Gauntlet, Dance of Death. You had to do that, didn't you? So we're going to bring the safe house out. Okay. Using the interrogation room. And that will allow me to go and find a preparation card. So the preparation card that I want is Attack Robotics. Attack Robotics is coming out. And then we will play Attack Robotics. So let's play the Stealth Strike. Let's use the Stealth Strike to put out the Widow's Gauntlet. Okay. And then we'll use our Widow's Gauntlet because it generates a wild resource for a preparation card to put out attack acrobatics. And that allows me to draw one card. So we draw Covert Ops, remove 4 threat from a scheme, and confuse the villain. And then we can use our 3 resources to play Dance of Death. And we're going to do some dancing. It's hero action, so we'll have to flip over to our Black Widow side. We're going to do 3 damage to an enemy, 2 damage, 1 damage. We're going to do all of this damage to the hood because we don't have anybody who's a blocker right now. All right, so we're going to do 6 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Takes him down to 5. And then the Black Widow is going to attack the hood. And see why I needed that attack acrobatics card. 1, 2, takes him down to 3. Now this is where I would have attacked with Quake, but it's not going to happen. So, all right. We'll ready Quake. We'll ready the Black Widow. We use the safe house. We just didn't exhaust it. We'll ready the Black Widow's Gauntlet. We're going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1 away from decking ourselves, so at least we don't have to deal ourselves an additional encounter card, but it all boils down to this, really. Whether or not I can block enough damage in these attacks to be able to trigger my attack acrobatics to do 3 damage to the hood. So we're going to place 3 threat. 1, 2, 3 threat onto the hood, or to the crime state. So we're getting so close. The hood is going to attack. We're going to jump out in front with Quake. Let's see what happens. We're going to draw our card here. So we draw upper hand. So upper hand is going to, we're just 1 shy of taking care of business here. So upper hand is our boost card. So we do 1, 2, 3 damage to Quake. So that's going to get rid of Quake. And the unfortunate part is we have this Power Stone now that unless I use that attack acrobatics ability right now, it says you are stunned. If you're already stunned, take 3 damage, place this card in the Infinity Deck discard pile. So I'm going to have to use attack acrobatics in order to do the 1 damage from that, yeah, and that's game. I just don't think I can do anything else. Don't think I can do anything else, because actually it was 1, 2, 3 damage to Quake. We're going to deflect one of those back into the hood, and then we're going to trigger our preparation card, so we actually take the hood down to 1. And I don't have any other preparation cards on the table to trigger. So it looks like that these guys are going to be able to take me out. Let's just see what happens. So, okay, yeah, I'm stunned because of that Infinity Stone. I'm stunned because of the Infinity Stone. Supergiant's going to attack Black Widow, and I'm going to exhaust her to block that damage. Yeah, that's game. That is game, because Corruptor's going to do 2 damage. So yeah, 2 damage. And then Thunderball. After Thunderball attacks, you deal 1 damage to each character you control. So that's it. That's game. I was 1 damage away from defeating the hood, and I just couldn't pull it off, but it was close. It was a close game. Um, didn't use Black Widow in the traditional way of building up a huge board state, but as you can see, my strategy was to try to rush at the hood and try to knock him down as quickly as possible, because you saw that within the next turn, I would have threaded out, because that's just how quickly things snowball when you're playing in solo mode. So that's just my tip. It didn't work this time, but you can see I got very close. So I would really like to thank you for watching my playthrough today. I hope you enjoyed it, and as I mentioned earlier, if you saw anything I missed, maybe I did win, and I just didn't know it. Let me know in the comments down below. I'd also like to thank the Marvel Champions monthly podcast crew and Caleb Grace for issuing this challenge. Don't forget to record your results if you attempt this challenge yourself, and I'll include a link down below where you can add your result to your challenge and see how you did. I'd like to ask you a question. Which hero precon deck would you like to use most? Do you like to use the most? You can leave that in the comments down below too. And if you, I want you to feel free, if you want to like the video and subscribe if you're enjoying these playthrough videos. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can shoot me an email at boardgamelawyer@gmail.com. I'd like to thank you again for watching today, and I hope to bring you another video again very soon.